In the production notes, Colin says that he gave you and Emily just a whole ton of credit for defining who Kayla is, and
Yeah.
how she changes over the course of the story that we see unfold on screen. So I guess, what were some of the biggest differences between the version of the character you saw on the page day one and what we see in the final version of the film?
I gave Kayla a dialogue pass. I gave Kayla a full dialogue pass. I mean, she was already very clear on the page. I had a couple of touchstones that were non-negotiable. Her background's her background. She was always Air Force. I knew that there were certain moments in the script that I had to execute, so I knew that she had to have a certain physicality for you to believe that she could pull Chris Pratt out of the water because he is, I don't know how many times my actual size. So were there certain things that I wanted to ensure that were true, but also, the kind of trust that he gave me. We workshopped her, truly like old school theater nerd. We both went to NYU, workshopped her for a couple of weeks to really refine and integrate her backstory, and that's a process that I don't know any better because I come from indie film, so I'm just used to a certain degree of collaboration. But, it was a real gift and an act of generosity and trust on Colin's part to just let me kind of like do my thing.
Oh, you said the key word there. I'm a big backstory nerd. Even when we don't necessarily need it in a finished film, I
You
love hearing about
you
it.
feel it. You
No,
feel
you
it.
definitely feel it, and I think you feel it coming through Kayla. So, again, we don't necessarily need this on screen in Dominion, but did you ever, just for fun, I guess, come up with any other missions regarding dinosaurs that Kayla had been on?
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. I mean, and I talked to them, a lot of them, which I won't say because, maybe there'll be like another thing. I'm vying for a
Fair
prequel.
enough.
Anyway, that's not the point. Point is, I talked about it a lot, funny enough. One of my co-conspirators with Kayla, which you can see very clearly in this film, was Joanna Johnston and in the construction of that character. So a lot of her adventures we built into the wardrobe.
I love that. Are
A, lo-
are
a
there
lot
any
of the
specific
toys and trinkets,
are there
you
any
know.
specific details people can look out for?
There was one where, she had this moment, and it's probably going to be in the extended cut, maybe we'll see, but she has this beautiful pair of like brass knuckles, and we have this entire like backstory of this adventure that she had gone on like in South Africa. Girl, I love backstories. Where she procured these knuckles, because a lot of Kayla has this kind of, Indiana Jones, you know she's been everywhere. Some of her travels are for work, and she goes on them because she has to go on them, and some are just for her.
I love it so much. Now I want like a whole series, like The Adventures of Kayla. When can we get
Yeah,
that?
she's great.
How about her take on the events of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World? Because like she's alive and in the world as all of this chaos is unfolding. So how do you think that those issues and instances impacted who she's become and who we meet at the beginning of this film?
That is a great question, and I can tell you outright. I think, so much about when we meet her is just this level of she really makes a true hero's like call. There's something that's awakening inside of her when we meet her at the top of this movie, and it's because she's in part very like disillusioned. She's very like disillusioned and disappointed at, the folly of man, and she's in this place when we first meet her that's just like, if you can't beat them, join them. And
Fair
she's just
enough.
made a living of the mistakes of the people who have come before her. So you kind of have this sense of just like this level of like resignation, but there's something that's building in her that you're just like that she's come to the end of the line of herself where she's just like, there is something I can do though, actually, and that was really inspiring to me to be like, we can all be heroes in a way, and that at any moment we can make those turning points for ourselves to stand up for something when we see something happening.
I love how that reflects the overall story and themes of this franchise, with mankind continually making the same mistakes and hopefully starting to realize you can actually stop and change the course of events here.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh
Exactly.
my, thank you so much for your time today. And I can't wait to dig into like I'm going to bother you with very, very specific questions.
I requested that, so please, yes, please do.
Brace yourself. I can't wait.